Hey there. Happy Sunday. Wow, what a Sunday this one is. This is Easter Sunday for those who celebrate. Happy Easter. This is also Trans Awareness Day. It's always been Trans Awareness Day for like 10 years now. Easter just happened to fall on Trans Awareness Day. People are going nuts today. Like, oh, it's a conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy, it's a calendar. And the fact that Easter moves around, you would know this if you were paying attention. Preacher's kid, I know how Easter works. It's also a day. I'm. This wasn't something we planned, but it's something that turned out to be really awesome. It is the final day of Women's Month. So what a great theme we have tonight, which is magical women in television. And oh, by the way, I'm Captain John, and welcome to Retro Rangers. I do want to say this, and already I've buried the lead. This is a fair use show. We will be watching clips today, as we do every Sunday on this show. We will be watching clips. We are a non-monetized show, and if you own the copyrights to anything we are showing, first off, thank you. We will be showing them under the doctrine of fair use. And secondly, we're not trying to steal anything. We're just here for review and reactions. We've got great guests. I've got my co-host. It's going to be a fantastic show as always here at Retro Rangers. Let's begin. Let's begin.
Five, four, three, two, one, fire.
Let's get my co-host in here. Joe Townsell. Happy Sunday to you.
Happy
Commander
Sunday,
Townsell.
Captain.
We have this is so typical for us. It's a rainy Sunday here in California. So hopefully the picture won't glitch too much, but when it rains, my internet does not get better. It gets worse. So hopefully we'll be all right. I hate that I'm the main hub of our servers and stuff, but that's just how it is. Mr. Townsell, what a week we are about to begin. How you feeling, my friend? How are you?
Well, I'm feeling great. It's always a great time with Captain John and our guests when we have them to go over these fair use clips, as you point out. We're not here to steal anything now. We're just here to review, react, and etc. And I feel great about our topic tonight. Girl power, as we plugged it, got lots of great clips in line. A couple of surprises for me, as I found out just prior to the show. So,
oh yeah,
looking forward to that, and looking forward to reacting and reviewing and chatting with our guests tonight.
Let's get our guests on the screen now. These are two people that I met when I was in professional wrestling. Speaking of people who I met during professional wrestling, Steve Arviso, aka Amoral Crackpot, is with us. Cracking colorful eggs that are hiding isn't a symbol of trans awareness. It could be. It could be, especially since you're looking for them and you're happy when you find them. That to me sounds like, you know, a good way to celebrate. And Adina, his wife, is also with us. Hello, Adina, as well. And now let's bring in this couple. They are so funny. Oh my God, these kids are so funny. And we used to travel hours and hours and hours together because California's a big state, as you no doubt know. And we would go from show to show performing together, and they were just a delight, just an absolute delight. So I am so happy to share that delight with my co-host Joe and with you at home. Ladies and gentlemen, may I please present to you Oni, the American Oni, and champion of women, Pris.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, my darlings.
I love you. I just have to minorly update you.
Oh, okay.
It's been about 2.5, 3 years. I am the champion of equal rights.
Oh, hey, well done. Continuing the good work you've always been doing.
Thanks. It's really easy when you give yourself that title.
Well, we're not saying you didn't earn it.
That's good. Give it to yourself now, earn it as you go.
I would.
It's
That's
a
how-
standard.
And that's how wrestling goes.
Right.
That's true. That's true. You put the belt on yourself. That's how you can guarantee you get a belt. Yes, I mean, there's no one in their right minds who would ever make me a captain. I made me a captain.
That's not true. You were a great captain. What are you talking about?
Actually, I don't think that's true, is it? Joe, did Flobo Boyce make me the captain?
Well, I don't know about the very beginnings, the very origins of Commander's Law, which I assume is where you were first, Captain John.
When I first was inducted into the Federation, that was
so. Since he was commander, then we're going to promote him. He doesn't know this yet at some point, but I assume that was the origin of your promotion to captain. Although I think you entered the fleet as a captain, for that matter.
I did. Again, didn't deserve it at all. Let me tell you something about Joe Townsell. Joe Townsell is a great author, and I think it's time. Now, look, we're non-monetized. We don't have sponsors, but we do want to remind people that Joe Townsell has written some excellent books and short stories, and you have got to go over to joetownsell.com and take a good look at all the great tales this man is telling you. I mean, live. He'll tell you stories. Why am I saying that?
Oh, you're not the first person to ask, John.
People love Joe. So go get you some Joe. Go get you a big steaming cup of Joe Townsell. JoeTownsell.com.
Thank you, sir.
And one of the things that I always loved about this was Joe was our he was our chief science fiction officer. Wink, pat on the back. We're so clever. But yeah, man, this show was going down in flames. My entire future as a broadcaster was going down in flames at one point. I reached out to Joe Townsell and said, "Would you please be my co-host? Would you please co-produce with me, please?"
I appreciate that vote of confidence, John, but I think it was a mutual need. Let's at least put it that way.
Well, that's very kind of you to say.
Yes, I was out for the count for a while, as you recall, and I said, "John, let's get this going again," and here we are.
And actually, and you can read a fictionalized version of that. A lot of truth, but some fiction in it in Joe's book, Hell and Wellness.
Yes, indeed. I encourage everyone to read it. I would just say that the first half is very horrific, as I am known for in my writing, but the second half, basically the latter 2/3 really, are a near biographical account of what I went through a couple years ago and recently.
And you went through some weird stuff, like some legit, personally weird stuff through this.
Oh,
adventure.
yes, absolutely.
So be sure to pick that up. I love Joe's stuff on digital copies. Super easy and super inexpensive to get, but I also love my soft covers. It's beautiful.
There's one of them.
Physical media. Fury duty.
You don't happen to have the audiobook version, do you, Joe?
You know what, Pris? You're not the first to ask, and I do not. However, this is something I'm definitely going to be getting into in the very near future because it's obviously a popular medium and people really want it, and I want to give it to them. So thank you for the reminder to get off my tuchus and do that.
Someone with a soothing voice who also drops in random Yiddish, of course.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I mean, I don't know about the soothing part.
Damn that Steve Arviso. That spine looks intact, John. Yes, I'm not a big reader. You know I'm not a big reader.
See, for a second, I thought they were talking about us because as goths, we have all kinds of like bones and
Or on the wrestling side, you never know the shape of our spine.
You never know.
That's
Usually
why-
this.
That's why I go to a chiropractor.
Yes, that's why my chiropractor puts on headphones when she's working on my back because I'm too loud. We are talking about magical women. One of the reasons why always found this interesting, and one of the reasons why the show exists, is because if we come up with these weird ideas, as Joe and I frequently do, we can do a show about that. We can examine that. And one of the things I find this very interesting. Y'all are younger than me, but see. God damn it, Steve. No, I don't have any Sailor Moon clips.
That's Magical Girl.
Wait, are they talking about things in my hair? Because I don't have those in my hair today.
One of the things that I've always wondered about, and I can't look it up anywhere, so I can only ask opinions of people I like. So I'll ask your opinions. And of course, Steve and Adina and everybody watching. What do you think? Oh, there's Barry. Hey, Barry the K is with us. We love Barry. He was on the show a couple weeks ago. There was, with the advent of Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie, there was this archetype that was created. So this is in the 60s, and TV's still in black and white at this point. I mean, it's a long ass time ago. There's this archetype they created of a magical woman trying to get along in a very mundane world. In the case of Bewitched, she marries a mortal who has no respect or like at all for the centuries-old existence of witches in that world. And Dick York, later Dick Sargent, playing Darren, has to deal with all of this magic in his life. And he's constantly telling his wife, tamp it down. I don't want to see your magic in our life. We're going to live a, normal life. Jeannie, I Dream of Jeannie's a little different because he, our hero, Major
Tony Nelson.
Right? Tony Nelson, thank you. Our hero, Major Tony Nelson, discovers a bottle. This is all in the cartoon at the beginning of the the beginning of the credits. That's another thing I love, that they explain the premise of the show in a cartoon. Both of them. I love that.
Both of them, yes.
But here's the thing. Why did this happen, do you think? What is media saying to us when this happens? Pris.
I have a distinct impression. So I'm what they call a nan kid. I was raised predominantly by my grandmother. And so my childhood was during the wonderful time of Nick at Night. So I was able to watch a lot of these shows. Yeah. And how I've seen it from a sociological stance is that women of that time period, especially white middle-class women, were held to a certain standard, and there was a lot of conformity that was expected, which must have been difficult with the amount of amphetamine use that was also rampant. However, I think shows like this were written as a kind of daydream or fantasy fulfillment that your average workaday woman was not able to in any way, shape, or form have dalliance with.
Mm-hmm. I also see a different aspect of it because, it was still, the early 60s. So there's still like a lot of segregation and stuff going on. And I also saw this as a way of displaying mixed culture households. Like what I grew up with, my mother was American. My dad's a Japanese immigrant. So I saw a lot of the awkwardness that happened would be of the couple having two different cultures and seeing how that mixes things up.
Yeah.
And, you know, they couldn't show interracial couples on TV at that time. So they could tell similar stories that an interracial couple might have with different culture backgrounds with a magical side of it.
You know, we're running into that a lot with the new cartoon that Disney is showing, continuing their X-Men cartoon. And I very much wanted to get your takes on this because I know you're a couple of X-Men nerds, you're a couple of animation nerds.
They are so much more than I am, but I've been enjoying the new show, definitely.
Yeah, so Oni, you are non-binary.
Correct.
And when you are watching something like the X-Men or something with magical people in it, do you feel that it is speaking to you as a person who is rare? Because non-binary people, trans people are pretty rare. That's something that all of the, you know, sort of backlash that's going on right now does not take into consideration. Like, I can't believe the trans people are taking over. Hal, 1% of the population is not taking over.
No.
How do you feel about that, Oni?
I mean, in regards to X-Men, X-Men has always been this way. Like, it's always been an allegory for the civil rights movement or the gay rights movement, depending on whether you're reading X-Men in the 60s or in the 80s and 90s. It's always ran parallel with those movements. So, I mean, it's easy to see yourself, especially when, you know, specifically in X-Men lore, a lot of this stuff you discover about yourself when you're going through puberty. That's what happens with people like me on the trans spectrum or queer spectrum. Like, you discover that that's when you figure out you're not like everybody else. And sometimes, like in the X-Men, you'll have groups that may seem more powerful than you go against you just how you were born. So yeah, it's always been there. It's always been a part of the X-Men.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny. I do tell people this every time that we do a show together, but I think it's important. It was very important for my growth as a person. When I first met Oni, I did that thing that straight people do, which is this person gay? Is this person straight? Does this person not know? What's going on here? And then a couple of years into our friendship, you said, I'm non-binary, blah, 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 blah. Not that the rest wasn't memorable. I'm sure it was. But that was a big turn of the page for me where it was like, oh, so there is no question. Because the question is, there's no question.
The funniest part is, and I've told people this story specifically about you, because I also identify as pansexual. And David Rose likes to say, I like wine, not the label. I also like to say hearts, not parts. But I remember you telling me a story, and this is before Oni, the character, was out. People would walk up and ask you, be like, what's Oni's deal? Like, are they gay or whatever? And like, before you had a definition to it, you told me you would tell people Oni likes pretty people.
That was always like the easiest explanation, because everyone I ever knew that you were with, all your friends, just had an aesthetic quality, had, you know, I mean, Pris is a great example because Pris has so many different looks and is just super beautiful and just absolutely aesthetic. You
I have no cash to give you, but I can Venmo you later.
No, we're not monetized now, Chris.
We're non-monetized. That's right.
And talk about big dick energy. This one.
I can attest to that.
Which we get in Bewitched, right?
I'm
Which brings us
five
back to
foot
you.
3 on my driver's license, and I'm 7'4" in my heart.
Oh, I like that. I also like
I
John's a take on owning that he likes pretty people. I mean, you know, don't we all? Because pretty inside and out, right? That's what counts.
Very
I mean,
much so. I like
yeah.
that.
Yes, it's
Because we've all met that pretty person, and then they start talking, and you're like, "Oh, you shouldn't have opened your mouth."
There's plenty of that. There is plenty of that out there. Okay, let's start watching some clips. And everybody in the comments section, feel free to go wild. I'll try to get your comments up on screen. I don't I don't know what to do with some of these comments, Steve, but but yes, let's go over. Okay, this is the awkward part where
It's like we should have a cat here.
I know. I was pretty good.
Okay, we're gonna take a look at. Oh wait, sorry, I didn't do this correctly. I really need a technical director. We have had this conversation before. Me being my own technical director is a mess.
Well, John, while you're getting the clips ready, if I may, I'll offer my take, my very complex analytical thoughts on why these shows were so popular back in the day and still now. And
oh yes,
it comes down to this: Elizabeth McGovern and Barbara Eden are hot.
Well, this is
no, but seriously, and more importantly, I mean, we're just and this builds, I think, a little bit on what Oni was saying, especially. It's we're a couple years beyond, only 2 years past the June Cleavers, the Donna Reeds.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still, especially with Jeannie, there's still a subservient thing going on there, but not really. She was really in charge, just like Samantha was, as we'll see.
Yeah, and that's interesting because they're both built on this premise that a man lives the life and his woman lives it with him. You know, that she is somehow an add-on, and yet these women in these shows that we're looking at tonight have magical powers and magical lives and magical pasts and things that maybe men back then were not ready to deal with. So it's very interesting that it was coming out in television comedy, one of the easiest things to go, well, that's not important. That's just frippery. And yet it has a big influence.
Well,
so
there's definitely subversiveness.
I mean, to go back to your last show, when you were showing the clips with Groucho Marx for that young woman from this in the 60s, where they didn't know how to deal with this woman who was like talking way more to that quiet man next to her. Yeah. She was way more opinionated. Groucho was trying to flirt, but hitting the wall. And like, they didn't know how to deal with a woman like that.
Yeah. And that was 1965. So that was right around this time, right around the mid 60s.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was so, God, that was such an awkward, like, I didn't love watching it, but I'm glad I watched it because, yeah, you were really seeing the two times smash up against each other. I can't believe you're showing your thighs on television.
Yeah.
And yet you want her to. So why are you negating that?
I mean, different but similar. Like, people wrote letters in about Mary Tyler Moore wearing pants on TV.
Yeah. Oh yeah, her little capri pants.
Yeah, during the Dick Van Dyke Show, and it was such a big deal for a lot of people.
Originally, you know that in the Mary Tyler Moore show, in the pilot, originally she was going to be a divorcee.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And they had to change that.
That was too scandalous.
It was too scandalous, but also they had tested out the show on audiences, and they thought that this was a show about the woman who divorced Dick Van Dyke.
Fuck you, divorced Dick Van Dyke.
Please. But they were afraid. So some great comments. Here's Steve. I believe from a U.S. pop culture history perspective, it was dipping toes into women's lib, but also restraining them to a fair degree.
Yeah.
I think think that's a very fair comment. And he follows it up with, the weird part is Lucille Ball was more free and proactive in her own life than on her series in the 50s.
Well, but she was also, she was Lucille Ball. She was very much ahead of the arc of that time frame.
Right. And yet people knew that she had a lot of like influence on her own show, that she had built her own image. And I mean, the company's called Desilu, so of course husband's name comes first. Husband's name is there to, make things make things more legit.
Lunacy doesn't sound as good.
Yeah, it's true. And Lucy would take one for the team. I mean, she allowed herself to be spanked by Ricky how many times when she was bad,
And also, she's the reason why we have Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes, very much. We love her for that. And Mission Impossible. All right.
That's right.
We're gonna take a look at the pilot episode. I don't know if I've ever watched this, so we'll just watch pieces of it, of course, because that's what we do. We're fair use.
Because we're not monetized.
Yeah, did we mention we're not monetized?
We're not monetized. We're fair
With that
use.
We
catchphrase,
mentioned
folks.
fair use.
So here we go.
Great. Now I went cotton
Fair
candy.
use, which is different from free use.
Yes.
Right.
Once upon a time, there was a typical American girl.
Okay. Let me turn this on.
Now, of course, this was colorized because both pilots were in black and white back in the day.
Oh, look at that. Well, good. It's modified. You can't get us on that copyright either.
And
That's why I pointed it out.
Thank you. Thank you,
so
Commander.
they
Tom.
decided they'd better sit down.
Here's our little meet cute.
Actually kissing. So this
Well, we
has
want
just-
sweetness, Chris,
They
not
had a
passion.
typical wedding.
That's right. Closed mouths. Closed mouths.
Typical honeymoon
No obvious tongues.
in a typical bridal suite.
We just have to imagine how Tabitha and Adam came along.
I think it had something to do with those trains.
Little symbol there.
Wink, wink. Train in a tunnel, pal.
The current bull market.
Okay,
is on a
ignore
short
this.
run Since the pandemic.
Here comes
Average
Steve with this
bull
comic premium. John. Who can
Yeah.
do the patented Samantha nose twitch to cast a spell?
I can't.
Oh, okay.
Not this big French Canadian nose.
I just look like I'm alternately smelling something horrible from different parts of the room.
Yeah.
It's up
Yeah,
to
I
you,
can't-
John.
I can't do it then. Can't do it. Of course, with me, it's such a big nose. It'd be like, do, 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 do.
We'll do it like Tabitha. She's your
Yeah.
favorite.
Right.
Yeah. I can't argue with Eric on this one. Low key jealous of Darren's robe. Yeah, that's a really nice ass robe.
Yeah, we got some Hefner vibes going on here.
It's almost like a smoking jacket.
It's very much. It would
Steve
just have
says-
to be a little shorter.
Steve says that New England accent really comes out when John says queer. Tell me if I do. I will change it.
When it sounds like that, it sounds more like a slur.
True. When that accent's used with that word, 99 times out of 100, it's a slur.
Now, is
Okay.
it just me, or does Samantha look every bit as enticing in her full-length, full-body covered nightgown as Jeannie does in her harem outfit?
I don't know.
Yeah.
This is a Mima robe.
The
Oh my
Victorians
God.
look at that and go, "Oh, you can button out a little bit."
Well, I imagine she's got a costume change coming up, and that's why it's so
I
high
hope
up.
so.
Fair.
All right.
Actually, I liked her the best. Serena, the twin sister, because they
Oh,
both shows
yeah.
have twin sisters.
Maybe I should. Well, maybe I should. Yeah, actually, Eric, maybe you got to. Oh, wait a minute. Eric, maybe I should mute the audio. Maybe I should. I don't know. I'm still trying to. Here's the thing. I am doing my best to. I'll just take sharing off for a second. I'm doing my best to be an innocent when it comes to these disputes, because then I get into these disputes and I have to write out, what I did wrong and all of this. And basically I'm like, well, I don't know nothing. I'm just a silly old man in his 60s. What do I know? Well, you're the big old copyright holder. Only you can give me permission to show your clips. And then they drop their disputes. That's how I work the system.
Oh,
But-
when during the pandemic, Pris was doing a roller skate show, and YouTube would drop us like boom, boom, like just because certain songs we were playing, and it's like we're not making any money.
Well, and that wasn't the point anyway. Plus, we were also using it as social time with a lot of our friends, and so we're speaking over the music constantly.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to buy that.
Right.
Hardly usable.
So
Exactly.
everybody in the comments, are you still seeing the show? I'm trying to tell what's going on with you guys.
Any day
Did we
now,
get-
John will notice.
Did we get kicked off already? I hate to lose this crowd. Oh my God, we've lost a bunch of viewers. Uh-oh. It did get kicked off. Barry, you're telling me it got kicked off? Oh, are we good? Are you seeing the show now? I just need to hear from you guys.
Hold
We're
it
not
here.
good. We're worse. He's reacting
Do
to
a
it.
rest
We can't hear.
hold.
Okay.
Do a rest hold.
Okay.
We're waiting for T to come back. We're waiting to come back. The ref will give us the signal we're back.
Oh, yeah, seriously.
I'm gonna go get my vitamins. I'll be right back.
Okay, so and now we're back. I have no idea what people are seeing. I have no idea what the show looks like to anybody. I'm really sorry about that. If you tell us, then we know. That's how we
Well,
know.
the back and forth, that sounds like it was just technical aspects to me, but
Could be. I don't know. I do not know. So let's take a look. I just want to watch this little clip here. I'm not going to pay for premium. I'm just not going to do it. It's just
That's
not
how they
happening.
get you.
It's just not happening. We're not
I
going
mean,
to do
Steve
that.
I guess he could contribute the expense for that, but that might be monetizing too. So maybe I shouldn't even suggest that.
Oh, yeah. No, we must not do that.
You know what we need? Does anyone know any Medicis? We need that. Get ourselves some art patrons.
Well, Steve, I don't see that anywhere. I have no idea when that happened. So Steve is saying it legit said I did policy violations. No, Medici's, not Meta Cheese. Athena.
Cheese.
Maybe the policy violations, my careless mention of BDE, if you remember what that acronym stands for.
It happened when we set it up.
Okay. Well, I will cut the audio on the clips, but Steve's right. I do believe that sometimes the algorithms go after the video too. But hey, still learning. Still learning.
Like I said, we're just talking. We totally talked over that one. So.
We talked over it. I mean, that's the thing. I always say, like, we're talking over these things.
Oh, there's my girl.
There is Serena. Let's talk about the existence of the evil twin.
Oh, I think every other show has had that occurrence.
Yeah.
It was on the Addams Family. It was on That Girl.
Oh, was
It was
there another
on-
girl who looked like? Oh, there wasn't there?
That other girl?
That other
Those-
girl.
That was the spinoff, Those Two Girls.
Patty
Patty
Serena-
Duke.
The
Superman had Bizarro. That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not
okay.
really on
Tiny.
I mean, the mirror universe.
Right.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Spock with the goatee. Yeah,
Yeah.
very famous stuff.
I do like the use of the doubles with their, the backs of their heads, so the camera posing as a person is not talking at that moment.
Yeah.
I just wonder if they switched wigs as they went back and forth on reaction shots.
Maybe, I don't know. Oh, and then Barry says Seinfeld had Newman. Well, I don't know.
He's just
Barry, that's crazy
evil.
talk.
He was
Hello,
just evil,
Newman.
evil.
So okay, that is Bewitched. Now let's take a
Like the
look
most
at
time we've seen her.
I Dream of Jeannie.
And we do.
And we do. So, what am I doing here?
Are we
Doing
going for the naval era or the no naval era?
This will
Did
be.
you ever have a naval on the series?
I don't know if there was ever a naval on this.
I know
series.
she did in
think there
the
was.
2 TV movies that came later.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that what I'm thinking of?
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they were pretty strict about that the whole run of the series.
So silly.
Although sometimes it would slip, if she moved around or whatever. little, they you talk about nip slip, she had navel slip occasionally.
I just think it's kind of funny that we are talking about shows in which women are given this power, and then you don't have the power to show your belly button.
Yeah.
It's a weird time when these shows were famous and being made. I also wanted to throw this in. This is a show that I watched as a kid. I'm not sure everyone else watched it, but there was Tabitha.
Yes, indeed.
And so this is the grown-up Tabitha. And actually,
And that's the actual actress was Erin
Murphy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Was it actually her playing Tabitha as an adult?
Yeah.
She might have done it in some other show, but on this one, Lisa Hartman plays Tabitha.
And we know Lisa Hartman, of course, from Knots Landing, one of my faves. I have to admit.
Right. I was trying to remember which show she had been on, and
wife of Clint Black, of course.
Right, and married Clint Black, and so she became Lisa Hartman Black.
Yes.
And oh wow. Okay.
Oh yeah, this is. I haven't seen this one.
Get her nice and oily. Lisa Hartman, nice and oily.
Now I know they did a couple of passes of this, so maybe I don't know if Erin Murphy did either one.
Right,
but I think they tried doing a redo at one point. It didn't take either.
And that's the whole thing for me is Robert Urich, ladies and gentlemen. There used to be a law in the United States that if Robert Urich wasn't on a show, you had to get him on a TV show.
I just watched him in several hours of something I mentioned before the show. John, do you remember what that was?
No. What?
Does he always have the bobble-headedness of a loosely strung 1930s composition doll, or is that just for this role?
Sitcoms.
Yes, I was about to say the same thing, Joe. Joe, what did you see Urich in?
I just saw him, totally unrelated other than him, but they just dumped the whole miniseries called America with a K on YouTube.
That's right.
And he was one of the lead characters in that.
That's right. Oh yeah, that guy. I don't know who that is, but I remember from a lot of shows. That guy.
He was the Ted McGinley of his day, I think.
Yes, there you go. Exactly, the Ted McGinley of his day.
This kind of looks like if all of the characters from Barney Rubble had like a week off and then came back to work refreshed.
Okay, so this is we're watching I Dream of Jeannie at this point. This is a clip from I Dream of Jeannie. Tense astronaut stuff, and then let's just skip ahead to the fun part. And now he's shipwrecked. Why are we even watching this? Because the cartoon just tells you all of this.
Well, they don't dwell on here either, you know, and the cartoon, as alluring as it is, doesn't quite match the live action version we're about to see.
Oh, I missed all this stuff in the comments. Ooh, that navel says Mary J. Too erotic, says Steve.
I have to point out
Adina's-
that Gene Roddenberry was so irritated with the network for not allowing navels in Star Trek.
Oh, really?
Later on, when he did a subsequent series
Yes,
that starred Mariette Hartley, he gave her 2.
I remember that with a close up. It's like you see her, you know, wearing the 2-piece, and then like boom, big close up. There you go. There you go, says Gene Roddenberry. Oh my God, Steve, the fourth hole is Steve. Please, there are children watching.
Isn't
For
that
shame.
isn't that behind the knee, Steve?
There it is.
I don't know. I don't really watch that show.
We're
If I
getting too far.
understand the reference.
We're getting too far, and we got to back down the road. We're getting close to not safe for work here. Thank God nobody's working.
Thank God
So-
nobody's working today.
Up,
But I
up,
mean, as
ignore
much
it.
as I love Samantha, I mean that first scene with Jeannie ever just
Yeah.
comes out of the bottle in her harem outfit, comes and gives him a big smooch.
You know,
Boyhood
I,
and old man fantasies prevail, I gotta say.
I gotta say, first off, I loved this cartoon. I lived for this cartoon. Definitely wanted to see more of the cartoon version. But I'm gonna skip ahead and we're gonna get a little dialogue. We should also note that in the beginning of Genie, Tony he not only has a fiance, but his fiance is the daughter of his commanding officer.
General, not Peterson. He came later. I can't remember the first general's name offhand, but
Yeah.
yes, it was General so and so's daughter. That was his fiance.
So
That'll be fine.
I like
don't
General
see
so
any
and so. Maybe that was his
conflict
name.
arising from that situation.
so
You know, between your fiance and your slave.
now
It's a little Thomas Jefferson.
damn, Oni,
At
holy
least
cow.
Jeannie has her own room.
Yeah.
She has to
Well,
become
she's-
this big to get in it, but
She's got a mini house. And I don't know who the actress is playing the fiance, but she seems lovely. Of course, she's no Barbara Eden in a man's shirt. I'm
Few
sorry.
things are.
might be the same actor we saw in Bewitched just now, for that matter.
Hang on, everybody. I just realized I've been watching this by myself. Hang on, please. Please stand by. Anyways, I've been watching it, talking about it. You guys
I'm
haven't
sure
been
that
watching
you
it.
watch these clips by yourself, John, but now's not the time.
Okay, so yes,
Oh, nice.
I know.
You asked for this, John. Half naked girl
Very-
calling.
Barry the K points out half naked girl calling him master. I mean, still, it is the mid 60s. This is the dream for some men. What a contrived origin story. It couldn't just be a dude on a beach. He had to be a space dork too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A new
Well, that'd be some
hashtag
reason
from
it
Steve.
was based in Cocoa Beach, right?
Exactly.
By Jonathan.
Hashtag by John a second monitor. Yes, I know. I know.
John needs a sugar daddy. Hashtag John needs a sugar daddy.
So one of the things I love about this this pilot. Okay, hang on. I'm going to restore the audio because listen to her read. Listen how she.
Melissa happens to be a
The
very.
black-haired demon.
Oh, well, yeah. Look who's talking.
I can do much more for thee than she can.
Now stop that.
Oh, is she still doing thou and thee?
I mean, when you're engaged to General Stone's daughter, you don't do that in America.
General Stone.
You know,
General Stone. That's
Stone
what
and so.
it is. So let's skip a little bit ahead on this. Let's
Jeannie
see
was
what
definitely
we-
more mischievous than Samantha, to be sure.
which I like. I like the idea that he's not like just trying to crush her spirit. It's like she's mischievous,
Yes.
like a djinn.
Right.
Right.
So
That
it makes sense. I mean, in that any of this makes sense.
Yeah. In the lore.
Yes.
In the lore, as it were.
If we're going to suspend disbelief.
Yes. So
John needs a sugar daddy.
Yes.
Make thee happy.
Ooh, slow-mo.
Cruise action.
For over 2,000 years I've been in that bottle. And then this hand released me.
Oh my. I'm gonna stop it so that I don't get a copyright strike, but I also have to stop it just to cool down.
I have a feeling that hand's going to release something else later.
John's getting the vapors.
Yeah.
Oh, good heavens! My goodness, what a lovely bottle slave you are.
Well, I mean, Larry Hagman is on a fainting couch for all intents and purposes. So,
Okay, I have no idea what this is.
well, this aged well.
Now, of
Hey,
course, we
Jeannie
also have to point out that Michael Ansara was Barbara Eden's real life husband,
Yes,
and of course, he would go on to play
Oh.
Kang the Klingon in season 3 Star Trek.
that's right. Like one of my favorite Klingons ever. And I believe, have you ever heard this story? Because I remember hearing this, that he was not an actor, but he was Larry Hagman's judo instructor.
I have not heard that.
I had heard that he was like a judo instructor to the stars, and Larry Hagman was like, "Hey, you need somebody exotic and kind of Arab looking. This guy's awesome. He's not Arabic looking at all, but yeah, that's how I heard that.
And he did play a
originally
djinn
got
at some point in the series too.
Yes, he did.
And wasn't Barbara Eden pregnant when the show started?
Oh, I thought I'd heard something about that at some point, but I'd have to look that up. I don't know if it was when the show started. Maybe it was, because there's usually a little delay from when you shoot the pilot to when you shoot the series.
Right.
Right.
There's a little. It sits on a shelf for a few months before they decide, yeah, let's start filming. And then when they do start filming, then it would be they would start filming, unless it was a mid-season replacement. And I don't remember any details about that with I Dream of Jeannie. Then they would start filming in like July. So yeah, I mean, if they shot it in January, she could have not been quite showing yet. She could have actually had her kid. And as Steve points out, oh no, she'd be expecting. Because at that time it was dirty if you say pregnant. That just makes it
Lucy
gross.
Ricardo is expecting.
You're expecting, Lucy. All right, I'm going to hang on. I got to bag out again because I'm going to go to another clip, but I don't want to show the commercial that comes in the beginning of the clip. And I am not paying for premium. I did it before, and it was a lot of money, and I hated paying that money. All right, so here is another clip from Jeannie.
Oh, I hope it's one I'm hoping that has
Don't
Jeannie
forget
in
to
there.
put the screen back on, John.
I will put the screen back
Please share.
on, Oni. I
Hashtag
put on
John's
share.
private screen.
I have a show where I make people watch me watch television. Hey, let me tell you, Bill Daly is one of my absolute favorite actors of all time. And the fact that he's getting a little smooch with Barbara Eden right now, that just makes me
He's not hating life.
Can I do my Bill Daly imitation?
Of
Oh,
course.
please.
This is like when Bill Daly finds himself like at the Arctic, like at the North Pole. He's been genied up to the North Pole. Okay, so this is Bill Daly. Where am I? Jeannie? Tony? Where am I? Okay. Years later, this is him on the Bob Newhart show. Hi, Bob. Hi, Emily. Okay. Do you have any wire hangers? Okay. So the clip we're watching, I'm sorry, back to our show.
There he is.
There it is.
There we go. There we go.
Give him the dialogue now, John.
How good am I at this? Oh my God. Hey
I
there.
didn't know Chewbacca was in I Dream of Jeannie.
So this, of course, is a clip of the evil genie. And one thing that's great about the evil genie is they didn't give her a dark wig. She's just Genie, but evil.
Well, normally
And-
Genie had a dark wig.
Did she?
She just disguised herself as other Genie.
Oh,
Right
I
now.
see. Oh, this is her disguising herself as legit.
Exactly,
Genie.
because as Genie 2, she was brunette with a green outfit.
Oh,
That's
I never found any
right.
clips of that. I wish I'd found clips of that, Joe. Well, everybody, thank God Joe's here.
Yeah, go look for it. You'll remember.
She's kissing a man, and
Trollop.
she initiated it. That trollop.
Genie 2 seductive voice too. Hmm.
Oh, hang on.
Oh, darling.
Oh boy, and she eats a lot at a restaurant. She must be evil.
Ooh.
She ordered
You and me
dessert.
both.
Well, thank you, Steve.
That's how you can tell. Okay, is there anything else more interesting in this clip? Because they go to a discotheque.
Oh, wow.
Are they on LSD?
I'm expecting Joe Friday to kick his way in there at any point to give them a lecture.
Or Austin Powers.
Oh, these beatniks.
Oh, no. There are beatniks with bongos.
Where are your opera gloves, my darling? We're gonna go fancy dancing where they have bongos.
With
I
their
remember
funny
that.
jazz
Genie 2
cigarettes.
wearing out poor Tony.
Okay, there's one more Genie clip I want to show, and this one was courtesy our good friend Joe Townsell, and I have to say it is gold.
Not what you're expecting, maybe.
Such a great clip. So, Joe, do you want to set up this clip, or do you want me to get the clip on screen first?
I'll intro and outro it a little bit.
Yeah.
As everybody, it's mainly aware, Larry Hagman went on to have a minor role as another character called J.R. Ewing in a show called
Major
Dallas.
role. He's kidding.
You
folks.
may recall that series. And in the 14th and final season of Dallas, Barbara Eden did a multi-episode arc. And I'll tell more about that after we see the clip.
Okay, here we go. And let's see how much of this clip we can show.
But look at this. Circa 1991,
What?
Show me where to sign.
15 years after Genie,
What are you talking about?
It's time to
My
finalize
goodness.
our deal. My half of the company, remember?
I mean, Larry Hagman aged a hell of a
I'm
lot more than Barbara
sorry,
Eden did.
Yes.
But I was wrong.
But I don't think he put in the work she did, honestly.
I can't ruin your marriage.
All right, I gotta
Well, back
drop
then
out.
They didn't hydrate as much. Isn't that what you guys were saying at the last?
There you go.
I mean, there's a lot to it.
I'm here for the callback jokes.
There you go.
There's a lot to this actually, because Larry Hagman, if you remember, was a famous non-smoker who used to be a big smoker. And a big part of aging your skin is if you were a cigarette smoker. Do you remember he did those PSAs with the rubber band on his wrist?
Yep.
Oh, the snapping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time you want a cigarette, just snap. Well, I quit smoking, and I had to quit about 50 times before it finally, stuck. And I could tell you, it wasn't a rubber band that made it work. It was Wellbutrin.
A little bit of pain to your wrist was not enough.
Wasn't enough to make it work for me. But yeah, she looks incredible.
Well, great
Oh.
work in the final season. And you know what? I just prefer to think that she's just Genie in disguise, a final revenge on Master,
Okay. So of course we've taken a look at Bewitched. We've taken a look at I Dream of Jeannie. Let's take a look at some of the other shows that had these magical women. I do want to say that Dina says those clove cigarettes and whiskey breakfasts.
Maybe it's the old goth in me, but I miss clove cigarettes.
Breakfast of Champions.
I tried smoking them to get off of cigarettes, and I would smoke these herbals that smelled so much like cannabis, and people would be like,
John,
what, you can do that? What are you doing? You can do that? You can get away with that? All right, so yeah, let's try this next one. Now tell me if you knew that this show ever existed. This is I gotta get into the
Wearing shoes.
all right.
Wearing shoes.
This show. No, I'm telling you. Okay, they're making fun of me. Yeah, smelled like. No,
Jazz
I'm telling you,
cigarettes.
they weren't jazz cigarettes. Okay, so there was an actor named Bob Cummings. He was a radio actor who went on to do a lot of television. And he was beloved when he was on a radio show with Lucille Ball called My Favorite Husband. As a matter of fact, when Lucy was going to get her own TV show, everybody was freaking out because Bob Cummings wasn't playing her husband. He was in high regard, just like Lucille Ball. So Bob Cummings had a bunch of different shows, including the Bob Cummings Show, which lasted a few years. This one debuted in 1964, and this one is called My Living Doll.
Oh boy,
You're gonna like this.
because I know who's in it.
Now, Bob Cummings plays a psychiatrist working for
How
the
this
military.
came about was due to Jim Aubrey.
And what happens is the military has created a robot woman, and everybody in charge of the project is now like, she's too much of a robot. We need to make her learn to be more like a real woman. So let's
This is
go
like
to
an age-appropriate Small Wonder.
This is a dirty martini version of Small Wonder. Exactly.
Although Julie Newmar is anything but a small wonder.
Oh my goodness.
Right, the opposite.
So this is the entire plot behind My Living Doll.
I was 29 at the time. He said, "You're it, kid. Get out of Hollywood." The first thing
I'm sorry, I thought this was the show. I didn't realize it was an article about the show.
Yeah.
That's okay. Maybe we'll get in less trouble.
We can admire Julie later on in life as well.
Perfect at any age.
Yeah.
Exactly. Julie Newmar, for anybody who's watching and does not know, went on to be one of the women who played Catwoman.
Let's get real. She was the woman that played Catwoman.
I'm partial to Eartha Kitt, but
I like Eartha Kitt.
Lee Merriweather is great too. But
yes, Lee Merriweather, very underrated. Lee Merriweather, correct me if I'm wrong here, Pris. Lee Merriweather played Catwoman in the Batman movie.
Yes,
that's correct.
But I don't think was on the series. I think on Batman 66, it was either Julie Newmar or Eartha Kitt.
Eartha Kitt only came along in the third and final season. Julie Newmar was there the first two.
I gotcha. Julie Newmar, very tall, very athletic. Kind of in that. Oh my gosh, who's the actress who was an Olympic swimmer and she used to do all the swimming stuff?
Oh, Esther Williams.
Esther Williams. Oh, yes. Very well put, Adina. Statuesque.
Oh, she's the gold standard for statuesque.
And yes, Steve points out but at the opening, we watched those bare feet.
Adina, I caught your reference. Just to let you know.
You have that shirt.
Yeah, I do.
You have a Tu Wong Fu shirt.
Barry the K says, and when they made that robot look like Julie Newmar, enlistments went up 30%. Look, there's all kinds of gay coded stuff that I'm gonna miss. I just have to be okay with that. It's oh my God, I want to.
I'm sure you can find one. They're out
Now,
there.
where did I get that shirt from? It was
At a goth clothing swap, I think.
no, it was at a drag queen garage. Whose drag?
Was it Chi Chi LaRue?
It was Chi Chi LaRue's garage sale.
It was like a movie.
Oh my God, was this when Chi Chi was still alive?
Oh, Chi Chi's still around.
Oh,
Chi
am I?
Chi LaRue.
I'm mixing up my drag queens.
You're thinking of Chi Chi LaVane.
I am.
John, you mixing up your chi-chis?
I'm mixing.
You don't want to mix up your Chi Chis.
Let me tell you something. If anybody's going to mix up your
very
chi-chis,
dangerous
it's me.
territory.
You're never going to find a person who mix up chi-chis more than I do. All right. Well, this is not even the show. So why am I? Okay. Let's talk about another magical. Oh, well, actually, this is kind of related. So hang on. This is not magical. So we're talking about My Living Doll, starring Julie Newmar. Last I knew, you could find My Living Doll on Amazon. It was free to watch. So if you get Amazon Prime,
watch them because you haven't seen any of it.
I never even heard of it.
Yeah.
yeah, it's an odd, but I find it nice background music. Honestly, I don't, watching it directly is like, boy, this is dated.
That's how I feel about the original Star Trek series.
I am scandalized. Scandalo. No,
it's like homework.
I do get that. But I have to say now, just a quick side tangent. Tangents are my thing. How does everybody feel about watching the original series, TOS, those old scientists of Star Trek, and you're seeing the new CGI like bumpers and introductions? Like most of the special effects in between scenes have been redone with CGI. How do people feel about
it? It takes away the charm.
Yeah, I don't like it. I unlike Jimmy,
I like the zippers and stuff.
Well, my mother was a huge Star Trek fan, and so I have seen all of the series and all of the movies. I was taken to one of the movies when I was still like under 2 years old. So
you were that baby.
Yeah. I was quiet though. Not like now.
I just remember you smoking.
But it was cloves, so it didn't count. But I have such a fondness for the very special effects that are in OST. The aluminum foil, the crumpled aluminum foil that's with a gel bouncing off. Like, I don't like any of this CGI improvements. I have a similar disdain for when George Lucas was going back over and over and over with the Star Wars.
That's blasphemy right there.
We're doing a direct comparison. It's fine.
Hey, I'm a guy who gets copyright strikes. I am not gonna go criticizing anything anybody says. You go right ahead.
There was too much of that tweaking and trying to do special effects over and over and over again. Just let things be of their time.
I mean, like, you go back to the subject, like with Genie and Bewitched. I like that, like, if you could almost see the strings, and I enjoy seeing that there's actual like production value where people worked on making these things happen for the camera.
Well, that's
yeah.
And I am a practical effects.
Yeah. I'm definitely more into practical effects still, and I think that some subtlety and restraint can make CGI work, because I do enjoy the remastered original episodes of Star Trek.
I have to go with you on that one, Joe. It just makes me happy. I don't know why. I think I'd seen the other effects a lot.
Yeah.
And so, it's like that over effect of the ship, and the ship's in a distance and it gets closer, but it's just like you've got it on a table and you're just moving it closer to the camera.
When it starts like speckling out, stuff like that.
Oh, I love that one of the original ways that they did the transporter beam was just glitter with oil and water in a glass that they would spin. Love that.
Well,
it's kind of like the Spock transporter toy. You just put the little action figure down in there and curl it around.
Yeah, don't get the toy from the original motion picture though. It's too intense for kids.
All right, since we were talking about My Living Doll, and she's a robot, Julie Newmar as a robot woman finding her way to humanity. Let's look at the other side of that, and that would be from the show Bionic Woman. And this is a scene where Bionic Woman takes on a Fembot.
Fembots!
When they're like that, but then you knock off the faceplate. Oh, hey,
Buddy Hackett and Tina Turner.
Buddy Hackett.
Whoa! What a time to be alive.
It was the 70s. And I should also say, this is a gorgeous copy of this. I don't think it looked this good.
And while we're on the topic of lady robots, let me offer a very shameless plug. It's so appropriate right now.
Oh, yes.
JoeTownsend.com, mate to order. The main villainess. You can put that in if you want, but
we'll play it again later, Joe.
Yes, but the main villainess is a female robot in Made to Order, so check it out.
If you love evil female robots, boy, has JoeTownsend.com got something for you, my friend.
Should have made a graphic for that this week.
These books just sound amazing.
Oh, thank you. Well, please. I hope you'll check them out and let me know.
Please tell me that you're taking these with you to pitch meetings or some such thing.
Well, not entirely, but I'm getting there. I'm making slow progress on promotions and things of that nature. So, thank you for the encouragement. I need all I can get.
No, I would sit down and watch these.
Wonderful, thank you. And since I don't have the book handy, where is it? Anyway, it looks like that. There we go.
Oh yeah, that's like the one I don't have is Made to Order.
Yeah, because I told you don't get that one. I'll bring it to you one of these days, as well as Health and Wellness. But anyway, a brief sponsor digression there. But I had to point out, if you're into killer female robots, that's the book to read.
And that's as good a clip as we've ever done on this show. If you're into killer female robots,
and who isn't?
What? Tell me more. Okay, let's take a look at another thing that's gonna probably get us a copyright strike.
Never.
I really want to play the song. Oh my God, I want to play the song so badly. So we're gonna play it. And does anyone remember Nanny and the Professor?
Well, yes.
Oh my gosh. That's
a deep cut, is it not?
Juliet Mills?
Oh my God, well done. I had to look it up.
Because it's not Mary Poppins.
Well, all this time I was like, it's Haley Mills, but she doesn't look so great. No, it's Juliet.
It was all the smoking.
Richard Long, not fresh from where that Western he was on.
Big Valley, pal. Big Valley.
Thank God for John.
Hey man, we share a brain a lot on this show. And just some random blonde kids.
Well, except for little Prudence here.
No, you're right. Kim Richards. Kim Richards had a huge career. And last I knew, she was one of the real wives of somewhere.
I think she's Beverly Hills.
Yeah, one of those.
But of course, I loved her from the Escape from Witch Mountain movies.
I remember as a little kid when I watched it, I never was quite sure what Nanny did. I just knew she had some power, some kind of magic going on.
Yeah. They were never ever specific about the power. It just sort of happened when no one was looking, and honestly, Pris just absolutely nailed it because it's just a retelling of Mary Poppins. That's all the show is.
It's what Oni and I like to refer to as a 33 1/3% difference.
She has
Nanny
nanny
power.
power.
She has nanny power.
Well,
Exactly.
I mean, there was Super Nanny.
Well, there was
just
Super
aggressive
Nanny.
British women, though.
Oh,
on that show.
fair.
And there was also Fran Drescher who had the power of bringing you to your knees by her voice.
Yeah.
And fashion sense.
Exactly.
So yes, the little German children being taught by the nanny. Here's another thing I used to love about this show, and that was that they would do. I mean, this is like the courtship of Eddie's father too. It's like, oh, he's a widower. Oh, we feel so bad for him. But it's the little cartoons and all that stuff.
So this is also around when Family Affair?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we're looking at 71, 72-ish.
Yeah, what I'm getting here off of YouTube is this first aired on January 21st, 1970. And that is around the time of later episodes of Family Affair, I believe. Because Family Affair did go color at some point too.
Yeah, a lot of like nannies, single parents, multiple children.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of the like changed nuclear family, something's happened, usually widowing. Usually there's some widowing going on.
Because it's better to kill the mother than to divorce her.
Oh,
exactly.
Joe. I think a title for one of your new books needs to be The Widowing.
Writing it down right now. Thank you. That's an excellent idea, guys. Thank you.
Okay, so as we're roaring through our clips here, let's oh my god, that's so funny. Adina says God prefers murder to divorce. Damn.
Well, let's not forget another
God
magical
sure
mom.
does.
Carol Brady also was supposed to be a divorcee.
Oh,
that's true.
Oh, I forgot about that.
But for similar reasons. No. Mm-mm.
Right. Well, I mean, it took a long time. I remember in the 70s when there were like after school specials who were explaining what divorce was, because it was relatively new, but it was everywhere. And obviously that must be a pretty good thing.
I will I think I will put out there, I could be wrong. I always, with that caveat, but I would say that Mike and Carol Brady at least were the first non-fantasy couple to share a bed. And I say non-fantasy because I know that Herman and Lily Munster shared it first.
Oh, wow.
And Fred and Wilma before that.
But also,
fantasy.
Two-dimensional.
Yeah.
Well, Wilma didn't think so.
Steve says divorce was fashionable once the beatings were made illegal. Oh, okay, but I can't find the lie there. And Barry Corbin says, "Time to put your bookmark in, Mr. Brady." It's one of the dirtiest things that was ever said on the Brady Bunch.
Is that a real quote?
It is. I think it was from the movie, like the Takeoff movie.
Oh, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the 90s one?
Exactly.
Yes. Which was hilarious.
Now, of course, the dirtiest thing ever said on TV, as we know, was, "Ward, you're a little hard on the beaver last night."
Yes. Yes,
I mean,
here comes those policy violations again.
At least it's not my fault.
Okay, so now we're
Oh,
taking a look at the
gosh.
Flying Nun. I have to say, I think the Flying Nun is one of the most overlooked of the weirdest damn shows that were ever on television.
It is crazy times.
Okay, so I never watched this show.
Yeah.
How did she get her powers? Is it just Jesus blessed her with flight? Like,
It was just her weird habit. Not
Yeah,
but
her literal
everybody
habit.
else have it.
but levels.
The
No
I
notes.
I believe the idea behind it was that Sally Fields, who of course played Gidget and was enormously popular as
I
a
love
teenage
Sally
actor.
Fields. Yeah.
She's
I
so
really like her.
petite. Yeah, she's so petite and she's so tiny that the winds pick her up. They don't pick anyone else up, which is ridiculous. But,
look at this look at the Mother Superior. She's all dowdy and frumpy, and she's not going to fly.
Right.
So it's just she's so itty bitty and her habit is so big. That's what makes her fly.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
It was the 60s.
This is like the 1960s version of "I'm Just a Girl." That's what the
I just picture like two execs sitting in a park bench smoking, and a nun walks by and they're like, "Hey, doesn't that look like wings?"
So this is something else that Jimmy and I have coined, which is the 3 o'clock in the morning idea.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I should let this go. Of course, there's Mr. Carlson from Bob Newhart. And the big guy had a million shows.
No wonder he had to go to the psychiatrist.
So,
Doc, I'm seeing nuns fly. Oh.
I wish I'd paid attention to this so that I could tell you more about the actors, because these are great character actors that I love, but I can't tell you all their names. Oh, ignore the ad, everybody. Ignore it. Ignore the ad.
I'm going to invest $1,000 right now.
I've never seen a nun fly, but I've seen Pris scare nuns out of Target by hissing at them. So
Pris has her own special powers.
Yeah, she does. Hell
I
yeah,
didn't mean to do it. It was Indigenous Peoples Month, and it just came. The ancestors just came out.
I speak on behalf of most post-colonizers when I say, when you see Pris, just run. Just run.
It's just easier.
It's just easier. Your life will be. I mean, look at that. She accidentally steps on a teeter-totter, gets thrown in the air, and now she can fly. It's crazy pants.
And the dog's momentum is making her fly there.
Of course,
it's almost like she has to work to stay on the ground.
So did she have like the Greatest American Hero issue of landing too?
Yeah, I believe she did. That's so funny. Barry brought up Greatest American Hero earlier. I'm sorry. They are very tan.
They're super tan.
And it's that LA air staining their skin.
Well, she went from being like a little beach bunny in Gidget to doing this, so it stands to reason.
And I do have to ask this question along with Adina. How many small children watched this and made like paper habits and jumped off bridges? I hope none. I want to say none. Oh,
I hope none.
I hope
none. I wasn't trying to do that. I wasn't trying to do that. Adina asked a great question. How does the hat stay on? I mean, just basic aerodynamics. The hat creates lift. Then why doesn't it come off her head?
It's 3 strategically placed nails.
Well, yeah, some spikes. Because the other sisters have like the little thing that wraps up around their chin and everything.
I mean, yeah, wouldn't they fly better anyway? It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
Bobby pins were built different back then.
Oni's pinned on a few wigs. and he's helped pinned on a few wigs. I've watched them. They know what they're doing when it comes to hair. Okay, so there was. Oh, and now I want to show you one more clip. And then we'll go back to just being people who talk. So this clip is a show that I don't know that a lot of people knew that this one existed. This is a Sally Fields show again, and it's from this particular episode we're going to be watching.
Can I say the title? Because I know what it is.
Oh, yes. Go ahead, Joe.
The Girl with Something Extra.
Bam. There you go.
And what was her special power, John?
She had ESP.
That's right.
Now
it just clicked in my head as you were describing it.
Yeah. This is something that I don't know a lot of people knew this show existed. And when I was doing the research and trying to come up with an episode to look at, so there you go. There are many things I love about this show, but of course, Farrah Fawcett's in this one. Well,
hey,
count me in.
The Girl with Something Extra could also be an alternate working title for Sybil.
True.
Anyone who does not know, Sybil was about a woman who had a multiple personality disorder, and
16 of them, as I recall.
Oh yeah, and Pris just slayed with that joke. This is okay, and her husband is John Davidson. Come on,
another Ted McGinley of the era.
Easy.
This is just great TV, folks. This is just great TV.
My mom went to John Davidson's house for a game night with a bunch of other people back in the 90s.
A game night.
No, it was really a game night.
Was there a bowl with car keys in it? It was that.
No, he had this game that he had invented called Cathedral, I think it was.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and it was all these different wooden blocks. It's kind of sort of like chess, but not.
It sounds really familiar. John Davidson, huh?
Yeah, he's a nice man.
And I always wondered if he was a nice man. He is a very famous centerfold from Playgirl magazine. I can tell you that.
Oh, yes.
Oh, he was?
Yes.
Oh, I say it like I recognize it. I didn't see it.
Nope, never saw it.
No judgment.
I saw the Heartbreak Kid. I saw Shawn Michaels, and I saw Burt Reynolds. But come on, they were everywhere.
Yeah, of course.
Natural human curiosity. We all have it.
Well, and they wouldn't, like Playgirl magazine was not as explicit as most magazines were. So frequently there's
the fig leaf a lot of the
it.
time, at least at the beginning.
What's that?
Didn't they use like a fig leaf in many of their pictorials at the beginning, at least?
There could be. I remember Burt Reynolds actually had his hand in front of little Burt.
Yeah.
I don't remember too much else.
And then everybody knows Sean had his belt.
Right.
Yes, and Sean wore his championship belt in front of his Twigs and Berries.
Now, John, refresh my memory. Do we get the typical, when she reads the minds, we're basically hearing that guy's voiceover or whatever?
Oh, that would be great to know. I don't know if I can find it. I have to admit, I have not watched this show. All right. Now she just has ESP. She can't see the future, right?
No, she just reads thoughts, as I recall.
It's fate, John. That's fate. You can't go against fate. If you do that, believe me, the gods will be sore as heck.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That actor.
Go away.
I was going to say, he's been in a ton of stuff.
He sure has.
What ride?
What a ride.
I am having a dickens of a time in the preview window trying to find Farrah Fawcett. She must have not been on that.
Well, keep trying, John.
Keep trying.
I'm not wasting your time, am I?
Dewey, John Dean.
Right, I just
you have to
I
play.
was trying to hone in there.
Yes, but show me where there's a rule that says you can't.
Oh my gosh. I kind of love.
Right before Smokey and the Bandit?
73. So
a few years prior.
Yeah, a few years prior. I think about 3 years prior.
I want to say
Smokey
Smokey and the Bandit was 76.
76 sounds about right to me.
Yeah. And you can see the evolution of Sally Field, obviously, in all three series that we're talking about.
Yeah. No, Sally Field is. I just love Sally Field. I love her when she was playing Aunt May. Was that in the?
That was in the Andrew Garfield Spider-Mans.
Yeah,
That's right.
she can do no wrong. I do love.
Well, I loved her in Soap Dish comedy, ensemble comedy she did about soap operas.
Oh yeah, that one's a fun one.
Yeah.
You've seen that one, right? Oh, you would like it. Robert Downey Jr.'s in it too, and
Oh.
Kevin Kline, I think.
Like
So
great
good.
cast. Yeah,
No,
Kevin Kline and Elizabeth Shue.
To see it is to love it. It is a really great movie. I'm going to jump ahead.
It's what you want Clue to be.
I love that comparison. That's right on target, I think.
I'm one of the rare people that don't get the fandom around Clue.
Can I just say, Oni, I'm with you. I mean,
you got Madeline Kahn and Tim Curry.
Yes.
And sometimes that's all you need.
Fantastic cast. Well, folks, we just, if we're gonna show,
You must be one of those blinking you miss it moments with Farrah, huh?
Must be. I'm I'm sad to say I'm going to be looking at it later, trying to find her
by yourself.
I do I do love though that they were like, hey, it's 1973. Davidson, get your shirt off.
But you can only show one nipple.
So we'll just have to imagine it for now, but so Farrah in this show, this would have predated her appearances on Hubby's $6 Million Man.
Or maybe around
Run.
the same time. Maybe around the same time. Because I think that was happening around 1973. I can't remember exactly what year, but I do remember it's pre 76.
Right.
And pre 75, yeah. Because based on where I was living as a child and what TV I was looking at.
I always felt sorry for Logan's Run at one point because 1976, state-of-the-art special effects in a motion picture. Then the following year, here comes Star Wars.
Yes. Well, that's another one of those subjects like this subject that always drives me crazy is I don't know that people understand how starved we were for new material. 2001, I wasn't allowed to see it because it was considered an adult movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then anything that was kind of, had spaceships or was exciting, there wasn't that much, And then when Star Wars came out and was a huge hit, the whole world changed. All right.
I just look at Logan's Run now, of course, for Farrah, among other reasons. And
yeah, but Dina's right. Male nips, no belly button.
Let me tell you, and that belly button thing, there was a I'm laughing at the comments while I'm trying to finish what I started to say. Oh shoot. I remember the belly button thing being a very big deal when it was Cher. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, because she never went out without showing
Bob Mackie costuming.
Yes. And a lot of those wild, and I loved them. I loved it.
There's a lot of really amazing ones.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand being a straight man and not loving Bob Mackie.
Well, just between Cher and then Carol Burnett.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right.
Like amazing. And he didn't even just do their intro outro looks. A lot of times he was also doing the costume design for all of the skits as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. They're roasting me in the comments right now. So
oh, what else is new?
I'm not putting those comments up, everybody. We're moving on. Adina's really mad that I cut off. Adina, Sally Field and John Davidson were not having sex. They were acting like they were going to, but they weren't. I didn't cut it off at the good part.
No,
I mean, that's not what I read
quite
in Sally's biography, but okay.
Barry says Cher was an outie. Just saying.
Well, so something interesting and similar but different
Yeah.
to why Marilyn Monroe was able to wear a lot of low-cut dresses in the 50s is that Cher has an elongated torso.
Yeah.
And so they just kept kind of pushing the envelope with that.
Oh,
And a
yeah.
lot of the same thing is some women with natural breasts, they're not exactly friends. So they have a little bit of a wider cleavage.
Right.
So
Right.
censors didn't get as offended by boobs smushed together, like as opposed to
by
a
the
chest.
seagull in a martini glass.
That also harkens back to when we were watching Bionic Woman, because Lindsay Wagner for me was also an amazing, oh god, she's so attractive. And yeah, she would do the really like low buttons and obviously not wearing a bra, but she had her natural shape, so they could kind of arrange things around that. They probably use sticky tape to keep the shirt down, but yeah.
I think so.
Or maybe not. I'm telling you, the early 70s.
I recall an episode of I Love Lucy where they were in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And they went to a dress shop. And one of the big jokes in that episode was that they showed Lucy a dress that was cut down to the navel.
Oh.
And it's, I'll wear that. And then, of course, 20 years later, that's the fashion. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, that's this is so funny. This is so funny. So they're making fun of me. Calm down, John.
Hashtag calm down, John.
Adina,
That lightness
that lightness eye. Adina's like, he's reminiscing. Steve's like, his far off look. Oh, all the 60s softcore we've been watching. Well, my favorite is Barry's, which is, and who could forget Maude? Yeah, buddy.
Oh,
And what's up, Mod?
for real though.
One of the best
For real.
intros ever.
I mean, we're talking about magical women on this show, and we've pretty much gone now to the women we find magical. That's pretty much what it's and then there's Maude. And let me say, funny women with low voices have always been a weakness for me. Going back to
Marjorie Main.
Oh my God, yeah. Eve Arden. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
You're gonna, if you really want to, like, get me, bait that trap with Eve Arden. I will be there. Okay.
If you can't be an athlete, be an athletic supporter.
That's right. She was in Greece. I forgot that. She was the principal.
And the mothers-in-law way back when.
Oh, and Mothers-in-Law, which was a Carl Reiner show, I believe.
I believe you're right. Yeah.
Very, very legit. Okay. It's now old Joe and old John talking over the heads of young Oni and young Pris. So let's get back to you two. You two have a podcast. It has probably one of the best themes that I have ever heard of for a podcast. So tell us about your podcast so the children can go out and find it.
Thanks. It's based on childhood trauma.
So let me tell the story of how it kind of got started.
Sure.
Pris' mom did not let her watch all the things that I enjoyed watching in the 80s and 90s.
No, I grew up on John Waters and David Lynch movies.
And PBS.
And PBS.
Wow. So a lot of World War II documentaries.
And Sesame Street.
So long time ago, I would say like into our third or fourth year of dating, I remembered a movie, and Paul Rudd fans will know this movie, that is a complete ripoff of E.T. called Mac and Me.
Oh, God.
And I remembered enjoying this movie as a kid. And I kept harping on Pris. I give it a chance. It was fun. We watched it, and it was one of the worst things I have ever seen. I don't know what I was
It
thinking
was
as
a
a kid.
90-minute McDonald's commercial.
We didn't even make it. We got like maybe 20 minutes in it, and I just started apologizing. So that kind of gave us the idea that I will share with Pris. I will share with Pris just media that I enjoyed as a kid.
Mediocre media.
Not always.
Sometimes.
You've been surprised a few times, like with our Christmas special when we did the Hey Arnold Christmas special. You were surprised how like serious that cracked down to.
Yeah, that was a lot for the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we kind of, and the premise is we'll discuss what she thinks the show is, or premise of it is.
That's funny.
And we'll take some time off. We don't play any clips or anything.
Yeah.
And then we discuss what it actually is and her feelings on it.
So some of the movies that I have endured are
kept waiting for that
He-Man
verb.
and the Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, Masters of the Universe.
Which Frank Langella.
Dolph Lundgren.
Not sure what happened there.
Frank Langella paid a lot of bills.
we did a double pilot episode of Power Rangers because I grew up, again, my dad's a Japanese immigrant, so I grew up with the Japanese version and the American version of Power Rangers.
So we watched both.
And did a kind
that
of
was
compare
really
with
fun.
that one.
What's some other things that we've watched?
I mean, we haven't really done a whole lot of episodes, to be honest. I need to be a little bit more proactive about it.
Steve is such a Hollywood nerd. He's such a sci-fi and genre nerd that I know he's serious when he says this. Frank Langella is a treasure in that film. He's not joking. He's not being sardonic.
I think my number one issue with Frank Langella as Skeletor in that movie, well, there were two things. Number one, there were no hollows or shading in any of his makeup, so he just looked like a ghost most of the time.
Yeah, it's very flat.
And I really, really love super sassy Skeletor from the TV show, from the animated TV show.
Right.
And I was hoping that there was a little bit of that was going to happen.
Yeah.
But he made it his own.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if I may, I wanted to get to know a little bit about, Oni and Pris before meeting him tonight. So I listened to at least portions of all the episodes.
Oh, thank you.
They're great, guys. I mean, please do more, because I need to go back and listen to the entirety of all of them, but I wanted to at least get a taste. And it's a lot of fun. It's just it's a great fun listening experience. Great characters and analyses of what you watched, and these, your own great retro vintage shows. So I encourage everyone to go check it out for sure.
Oh, thanks. We also have plans in the future to do a bit of a role reversal where I will show Oni some movies that I grew up with, like the Ma and Pa Kettle series.
Oh my goodness, yes.
I want to be there for that. I want to listen to that. Oh my God, because I loved those movies as a kid.
Me
Same.
too.
I mean, that's the thing, and it's interesting too, Oni and Pris, you have a division in your pop culture lives, and maybe a lot of people have that, because I have that in my marriage, where Leslie watched every old movie as a kid, and I just couldn't be bothered to watch Mildred Pierce or or All About Eve. I saw these much later with her, and was very like blown away by the high quality and in many cases, like how funny they are, whether they were supposed to be that funny or not.
One of my favorite childhood movies is The Ghost and Mrs. Muir.
Oh yes.
And there's been a couple of times where I've tried to get Oni to watch some of those things, and they will do an MGM musical. They have watched their fair share of Gene Kelly movies, and you've even watched several Marx Brothers movies with me. But
I mean, like for those times, those were also very similar, like that. If you throw in Errol Flynn, like those were your action movies back then too. So if you really think about it,
but I really love all of the serialized shows that they would have even before the main feature. Like I grew up with DVDs and VCR tapes of those, so I like a lot of things that would be worthy of Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah. I mean, that's
and I may be oversimplifying this, and please enlighten me if I am, but one thing I loved about the original film of The Ghost of Mrs. Muir, I love the series as well. It was different. But the original film, I mean, to me, they had a kind of a subtle gothic quality as its own. It was, I just thought it was a really kind of a, pardon the pun, kind of a haunting tale. And I can say the ending is really effective.
Oh, it 100% is very gothic. It's very atmospheric.
There's what I was looking for. Yeah.
There's even one of my favorite rides, big surprise, is the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland.
Oh, yes.
And I can even see where there were some subtle pulls from that movie that are on display in the ride.
Well, we're talking about Have You Seen My Childhood podcast. I found the Facebook page, but it is available on all the platforms, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
So you unless
you took it down.
No, I just used. It wasn't on Apple. It was somewhere else, but I looked at it just a few days ago. So it's there. Check it out, guys.
Spotify.
Give us more, guys. Give us more.
Yeah, definitely go back and get back in the booth.
I especially want to hear Oni being subjected to some of Chris's choices.
I love the idea too of y'all going back and forth and showing some of the stuff that Oni hasn't seen because their reactions to things are always, I guess it's our age difference, Oni, but I always find your reactions to things so funny because it's like, we're very similar in a lot of ways, but I have I ever told you, I don't know if your sister has ever said this, Oni. I've met your sister a couple of times. She's an awesome person. But actually, there was a photo of you and I together, and my sister said, "Wait, hold on. Do we have another sibling that you didn't tell me about?"
Well, I mean, here's the thing that a lot of people don't know about me, because I always harp on about my Japanese heritage. My mom's side of the family's from your neck of the woods. Like my mom's side of the family's Northeast, Boston, New England area.
When I met your mom. Yeah, I met your mom, I was like, oh my God, she looks so much like my sister. I won't say which sister, so I don't want to get everybody mad.
And everybody who's related to my mother's father looks like him. Everybody. I have a cousin who is a black woman, and she still looks like she's related to him.
Hashtag strong genes.
Hashtag Game of Thrones, the seed is strong.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all the American chop suey in the diet.
Is that where that comes from?
I grew up on that. I grew up on a lot of American chop suey. It is so true. Big fat overcooked noodles. Oh my God. We come from.
I used to love that chunking in the can stuff,
Oh, I grew up on that stuff.
That is not for me.
But it's like, if you ever noticed that another friend of ours is a wrestler who also looks kind of similar to us, is I can't think of his name. I feel horrible. I can't think of his name. The punk rock Poindexter.
Oh, Dexter.
No, that's
Okay.
that's somebody else.
Oh, right.
Darwin
sounds
Finch.
like- yeah,
Darwin,
yeah,
I apologize for not remembering. But Darwin is also from that neck of the woods and looks like they are related to us.
Oh, Darwin's from the Northeast as well?
New England.
Oh, that's crazy. That is
Yeah.
crazy. My dad was a traveling salesman, so I always like to remind people of that.
There weren't Bibles in their briefcase.
Okay, let's see. I'm sorry. I'm so bad at ending this show.
We always get pretty giddy at this point, don't we?
We're punchy as hell. Oh my god! Like we've gone 13 rounds at this point. Copyright.
How many policy violations?
Exactly.
To be fair, John, you and I have been dropped on our heads an awful lot.
An awful lot.
And I have double digits of concussions.
Oh my gosh!
That's
Do you?
just being clumsy.
Well, and
Crazy.
theater.
Oh yeah.
That's okay,
Yeah,
Pris.
no.
I've taken a tumble or two myself in my day. So.
Yeah. I'm still loving all the. Oh my god, that's so right. Okay, so time for Sailor Moon, says Steve. Adidas says good night, everybody. Not quite. Close, close, getting close. Now they're talking about he did get hit by a VCR. I did a match where it was called the Trailer Park Trash Match. And we hit each other. I was wrestling Extreme Loco, who ended up being a mega crazy guy. And I was bleeding like crazy. And one of the things that had happened was he had smashed me on the head with a VCR, and I didn't realize VCRs have tiny metal gears in them.
Ooh.
Oh.
And so we were picking tiny metal gears out of my scalp.
It's like that Fembot to get hit by the car.
Yeah.
And Steve did have to mop up my blood. Yes, he did. While
Bless you. Bless you, Steve.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad you clarified. I thought he was talking about the chop suey.
Yes, we hit a gusher that night. 17 staples in my scalp.
Oh,
that's how they fix that. And that was one of my last matches. I can tell this story very quickly. I got home. My wife knew I was in the hospital because I called her from the hospital. But when I got home, she said, "Let me see it." And this is like 6 a.m. The sun's just come up. And I showed it to her, and she cried for 15 minutes.
Oh.
And I said, "I'm retiring from wrestling." I still did a few more matches, but they weren't crazy weapons matches. And that was a turning point for me. I had joined the circus, and I had been part of this wild carnival life. But when I saw it affect my wife, that was actually, and I never announced my retirement either, which is something that a lot of wrestlers do.
No, because you are an actual normal human being.
You weren't trying to beg for new bookings. That's what it was.
Right.
I have a similar story to that. One of the very few times that Pris did not make it to a match with me. And unfortunately, some of these venues don't have showers, so we can't really clean ourselves very well before we go home. You go home, then it's straight to the shower.
And this was pre-pandemic.
So I go to take off my shirt, and I am covered in blood on like my back area here. So I had no idea. And she freaked out at first because she thought I was bleeding. No, it was from my opponent. And so at first she's like, "You're disgusting. Go shower."
Yeah, well.
And then I was just like,
first things first.
"Look how butch I am. I have a man's blood on me."
Gotta look at the big picture here.
But I know that feeling. I know that feeling. That is a very pro wrestling feeling.
Oni and I don't really do death matchy kind of stuff. The last time we did anything that was like that, we were booked on a show that did have some death matches on it. And the tables backstage were just filled with
props.
It was like a Harley Quinn and Joker smorgasbord. And I walked around the ring after this one match that had a lot of thumbtacks and glass and things like that. And I walked around the ring
with her creepers
in my Hello Kitty creepers and picked up so many tacks because I don't want them to fall and then get attacked somewhere on their body. I'm walking around. I had so many tacks on the soles of my creepers that I then went backstage and did a little tap dance for everybody.
When I was doing this, Steve, aka Amoral Crackpot, and Adina were at these shows because they were part of the company too. And no, that's not the one. That's
for real. For real.
Steve says, because brain damage. Yeah. Because Steve I had forgotten about this. Someone convinced him to take a high bump onto thumbtacks and a shot to the head with a pizza pan. And yes, it was me.
No.
But before I went through my transformative experience, because he was a manager at the time. And I'm always, I'm always like, hey man, you want to walk the walk? You got to walk the walk.
Yeah.
And yeah, he took a big bump. And I still to this day appreciated Steve. And Steve saying I can't remember because brain damage. Maybe true. Yeah, he
explains a lot, Steve.
Oh no.
A lot of dues paid on this show right now. A lot of dues have been paid. Let's talk about
no monetary compensation.
Yes, exactly. I was paying people $20, so I wasn't paying enough.
I love these photoshops.
This is pure Joe Townsend here.
Thank you, Chris.
Another one of our friends from wrestling, actually somebody I met going to wrestling school for XPW, Mario, aka El Tiburon, is going to be on the show next week. And it's our 13th episode, Retro the 13th. So we will be watching trailers from Friday the 13th movies. And we will also be watching clips from Friday the 13th, the series, one of the worst/best adaptations for a Canadian TV show. But I just love it. This is a great line from Tina. I think we got Denny's afterwards.
Yeah.
Yes. And of course, Steve, hearing that we're going to do Friday the 13th, the series. No, please don't. It's not even related to the movies. I know.
Precisely the point, Steve.
It's so, I love it. I loved it then, and I love it now. So be sure to join us next Sunday at 5 p.m. here on the West Coast. And that, of course, is 8 p.m. on the Beast Coast. And coming up this week, Joe and I are adding a show because God knows we weren't already busy enough.
Needed more to do.
We needed more in our lives.
Disco nights.
This is Adina says, I'm looking forward to the commercials and the copyright strikes. We deliver. Actually, Disco Nights is a different kind of a show because it's a recap show. So we're not showing. I mean, if we wanted to, we could even monetize this one. We're not showing anything that we can't show. And God bless them, Paramount's gotten so much better when.
So no navel.
That's right. But lots of nipples.
Only male nipples.
But only one at a time.
Not unless Captain Burnham gives us a surprise or two.
I never I never know what's going to happen on Star Trek Discovery. So this is the final season, and
Yeah.
this is very exciting. So we're going to be. This is Steve's like, great. Now I got to borrow John's Paramount account to watch the show finally, and then hashtag get John Stevie a daddy. But yeah, please join us next Saturday, because I've got such a crazy schedule right now. We have to do it Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. But it's me and Joe Townsell, and we will be recapping the Star Trek Discovery episodes from its very final season. And the best part of Star Trek Discovery is I haven't watched it in a year and a half. I haven't missed a thing. They haven't been on. They've been on hiatus for long enough to raise a baby to a toddler.
That's crazy.
It's wild, but it's Star Trek. So yeah, what are you gonna do?
I'm looking forward to more Doug Jones.
Oh, Doug Jones is so incredible. He is so
well, John, throw that graphic back up real quick.
Yes,
if you
absolutely.
would. Because right here, I got to tell you that John has been blessed with Doug Jones' body for this graphic. So,
is that Doug Jones's body?
Yeah, you can tell from his little emblem up here.
Oh yeah,
nice. I do love that. Okay, that's okay. So this is Steve and Adina calling me a nerd.
Now we just need to get John in some of those Suru shoes.
Sorry,
do that walk.
I have seen.
Yes.
I've seen drag queens start to wear those on Drag Race.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they've been around for a little bit. I wanted to make a pair that looked like a clawfoot tub and then wear a Victorian gown with it.
Oh, that's hilarious. A clawfoot tub. Pris and Oni, thank you so much for being on the show with us. You guys are just so wonderful.
Thank you for having us. I had a really great time. So
well, then you'll just have to come back. And I it was a
was
thrill
gonna
meeting
ask.
both. And
oh no, I'm like a vampire, if you invite me in.
Too late.
That means
Too
I
late.
bring hors d'oeuvres. I don't know. What's the rest of that? How does that
Too
go?
late. You're already in. Joe, I don't think I did this one properly yet. So let's get the well, let everybody know. JoeTownsell.com. Go over there, check him out. Joe has all kinds of things on his website. He's quite the webmaster, as well as artist, as well as co-host, as well as bon vivant. You, sir, are a bon vivant. So be sure to check it out. I'm just going to do a shortened version, Joe. I hope you don't mind.
That's fine, because we don't want people to grow weary of my commercials, like, say, for example, Liberty Mutual. That would be terrible.
Liberty, liberty, liberty.
Can I just say, I came that close to booking a commercial with the emu.
Oh,
that
I had a feeling.
close.
I had a feeling.
That close. I don't even know why I didn't get it, but I came so close to playing the father of the emu. So close.
I see the resemblance.
Hey, man. This isn't an accident. It's not an accident, All right, everybody. Look at us. 8 minutes past 4 hours. Thanks a lot.
Grab your popcorn, warm up your TV. Captain John, Commander Joe got something to see. We're all back in time to the golden past with the Retro Ranger. Oh, it's such a blast. We're flying high with the Retro Ranger. Give it a try and don't be a stranger. Ranger, strap yourself in for a fun-filled flight. Retro Rangers are flying